Give it a couple of minutes. Hopefully somebody will come in. So we're early. It's 7:57. So we will start soon. But for the people that catch the replay, tell us about your channel.
Well, my name is Stephanie. I'm Erica's older sister. I live in New York, soon to be relocating, hopefully, to North Carolina within a year or so in
Okay.
Erica's area. We went to visit her, when was it, last year? And we
Last
really
year.
loved it. So, like I said, my name is Stephanie. I live in New York. The name of my channel is Mending Mahogany. Now, Erica's my sister, so she knows that I am a Diana Ross buff. But the meaning behind my channel basically is when I was younger, I seen mahogany. Now I'm giving
Mhm.
my age away, but back then Black women were not portrayed with elegance, beauty, grace. So when I seen that movie, it made an impression on me. And then let's not forget about the love story of Billy D and Diana. So but the mending mahogany, I am documenting, not really documenting, but I'm just letting my subbies come along with me as I go on my healing journey, emotional healing, spiritual healing, just getting to the root of things. And it's been quite the journey. So I am glad to be on your channel, Erica.
Okay. All
I enjoy
righty.
your content.
Hi, Tracy. So we have some people on. Welcome, guys. Um, we hope to do more of these. Okay, I talked to her about maybe doing a podcast, and we don't really have a name so far. How you doing, everybody? But I think it'll be Healing Sisters for right now. We're calling it Healing Sisters. I wanted to have a conversation because I'm going to be referencing, let me put the link in the chat. Let me try to put the link in the chat because neither one of us are tech savvy. Okay. Neither one of us are tech savvy. But this
Yes,
is
I'm
a link.
married to IT tech and I am not tech savvy at
Right.
all.
So after this video, if you do not know about this story, you can go back and you can click on that link and it'll direct you to the news reporting. Um, thanks, Tracy, about what happened. So this is an incident that happened last Saturday in Mississippi. Her name is Khadijah Michelle Brown. Apparently, she got into a verbal altercation and she decided to go on Facebook Live with her husband, and it resulted in her shooting him while on Facebook Live. Her mother was there, her children were there. And leading up to the incident, she had been making posts on Facebook. She called him bisexual. She also said that he sleeps with his coworkers, okay, because she had found some messages in his phone or on his Facebook Messenger about him cheating or messaging a coworker, a female coworker. And a lot of these things are happening. I'm not going to go into detail by detail, but while on live, and her mother was there, and her mother was chiming in on the argument about him not
Instigating.
instigating, about him not helping, about him not cooking for the kids, about he, I guess, she didn't feel support or whatever. They had 4 children or whatever. Apparently they've been together from high school sweethearts or whatever. um and like I said, I'm not going to go into detail. You can go back if you're not familiar with the story and watch it on your own. But what I wanted to talk about was what led her to that point and why so many women and men, because it works both ways. Hey, Susan. Hi, everybody, by the way. Thank you for joining us. So many women, they stay in these relationships with these men, and this woman now has lost her freedom.
Yep.
Her kids are going to be scarred for life. Um, over a man cheating or not doing what you want him to do. And I have learned. Unfortunately, it's taken many years to learn. You can't make anybody do anything. And not just from a romantic perspective, it could be your job, it could
Your
be
kids.
friendships. Kids. Oh, let's not talk about kids. We have to do another video, Stephanie, about kids.
Yes, we do.
Grown kids, because we both have we have issues with the kids. Okay. But you can't make anybody, and I wish she would have thought about it. I wish she would have. Okay, let's just get into it. The argument starts. Okay, we could have an argument. Like, I could have been having this same issue tonight with I Spy, because I've been waiting for him. He said he was going to help me put the shed together, and he took Parker to the dog park. He said that I'm just going to take him out when we come in. We're going to work on the shed, and then he comes and sits down and eats a fruit cup. I mean, now let's just say I could have took that and went crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is, I wish. Okay, she went through his phone. She found some suspect messages, right? You can't make anybody be faithful to you, right?
Yeah, but what I found interesting, like obviously from the way it escalated, this had not been the first time that all of this took place. This
Okay.
obviously was a pattern in their relationship,
Right.
and the marker was just continuously being moved further and further. You
Right.
know, if you've been with someone many years, the relationship goes through ebbs and flows and seasons, and so it was obvious that what we were witnessing last Saturday was just the norm.
Right. And my thing is this: when do you get to the point that I don't deserve this? And this is where it comes from, because I was in a marriage for 19 years. It should not have lasted that long. So when do we come to a point where we realize, and this is what I wanted to, when I was talking to Stephanie, the angle is not this story in particular. We're referencing. Don't mind the mess. I was in the process of cleaning. I almost didn't make it here. I told you guys I'm trying to do things. But what I'm trying to say is, this situation happened last Saturday, but if you look on the news, it's happening almost daily. Tomorrow or this weekend, it's going to be somebody else. And what I want to is, because I was telling her that there were YouTube platforms that really, really helped me. Okay. I don't make a lot of money on YouTube. I don't get the amount of time that I put into doing YouTube videos. I don't get that back. But I'm so grateful for this platform. Not everybody has health insurance. Not everybody, some people are embarrassed to go speak to somebody, especially in our community.
Yes.
Counseling is shunned upon. Okay, mental health is not, people, I don't know, people are embarrassed to say, I need to talk to somebody. Okay. And then you got to be careful who you talk to, because some friends will lead you down the wrong path. Trust me. Family will lead you down the wrong path. So not everybody has somebody to talk to. And why I wanted to have this conversation is because I don't know if you guys have heard of him. If you didn't, you need to encourage your daughters or any women, R.C. Blakes. When I
Yeah.
was in the relationship with the narcissist, I don't know how, he just came across my YouTube feed. I never heard of him before. And he wrote a book. He wrote several books, but he wrote a book, The Father-Daughter Talk.
Yes.
And let me tell you something, ladies. Had I found him or found this book when I was in that 19-year-old marriage, I would have gotten out. Then it's somebody else, ASCC Direct. I hope I'm saying his name right.
Yeah. Quinn Holiday.
Quinn Holiday. He does videos about narcissists. And let me tell you something. That helped me. You know what I mean? That helped me. So if we can, some of you came in late. My sister has a YouTube channel, Mending Mahogany. She has great content. And unfortunately, the way YouTube does it, they go by this algorithm. So if you don't get a lot of likes I guess they assume that people are not interested, so they don't really rotate your video. There are a lot of content creators that are so underrated on YouTube because of this stupid algorithm. I'm on Instagram. I share this same exact content. I got almost 60K followers, and I'm not saying that's a brag, but I'm just saying it's YouTube's algorithm. You know, your content doesn't get out there. TikTok, if I would have put more into it, I would have a bigger platform. But please check out her content because she has shared things with me that I didn't even, she shared videos that I've watched that I didn't even know that she went through. So that's the purpose of us wanting to do these videos. But let's get back to this.
And we're sisters. We
We're
grew up
blood
in the
sisters.
same house. And
Mhm.
as Erica said, she was in a marriage for 19 years that was not happy. Then she met a narcissist after that. I'm her sister. I don't know any of this.
Mhm.
I don't know until after the fact. I thought her husband was the greatest guy because, it kind of makes me feel bad as an older sister that you did not feel that you could share that with someone. Like you really had to go through like 19 years of hell by yourself. And not saying that every day was horrible, but you went through a lot of stuff by yourself. And me, as your
Right.
sister, when you told me like everything, I was like, what? But that's what you were going back to what you were saying.
Mhm.
The Black community, Black women, we need to get out of this thing that everything needs to appear perfect and all together. Social media has done a disservice to that. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, I'm 51 years old and I'm so glad I did not grow up in this social media
Me
age
too.
because I'm just glad about it. Like me and my husband were talking the other day, because of social media, men don't even know how to approach women anymore. It's all about sliding into their DMs. The interaction with people is different. Back in the day, the guy might have had to work up his nerve to come talk to you, ask you your name. Now you just slide into people's DMs and just the interaction is missing.
Yes.
And that is unfortunate. And because of social media, it's that extra added pressure to make it
Right.
appear that everything is perfect, and everything is not perfect.
Right.
Nobody's life is perfect. We all have issues that we have to work on. We all have things that we're striving for, but you also have to feel comfortable saying that.
Yes. And leading up to the incident, I'm not going to lie, I was nosy. I went on her Facebook page and I looked back weeks. I mean, their anniversary was March 5th, I think. And then weeks after that, 2 weeks ago, they're posting family pictures and stuff like that. So, like I was telling Stephanie, the illusion of everything's perfect. Everything is not perfect. Every relationship is not perfect. So you can't always see, everybody wants to be the Beyonce and Jay-Z, but we all know that um they have issues, okay? And I think it all goes back to something that I can admit as a mother looking back. I really feel, and this is my personal opinion, that low self-esteem is a contributing factor to a lot of women or men getting into these relationships, with these people, settling for just anybody, just because to say you have somebody, not feeling like you deserve better, not feeling like, afraid to speak up for yourself. And that could be not just romantic relationships, a lack of confidence and a lack of self-esteem. Your job can take advantage of you, people can take advantage of you, and you just accept it because you feel like, well, I'm lucky to have a job, or I'm lucky, to have a man. And I have had friends who have said the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. Or how many of the older women in our family, because they really didn't divorce, they stayed to the grave, How many of the older women in our family have told you, well, that's just a man, baby. That's just what men do. You know men, you know how they are. And that's unacceptable. And I know I wasn't really taught that. And even with my kids, I have sons. So it's hard. I don't have a daughter. So, with men, and even, yes, their father, he should have been the one to put that in them and teach them how to be a man, but you can't teach what you don't know. You know what I
Right.
mean? And even, I wish I would have built my kids up a little bit more, you teach you think you're doing the right thing, but I don't know. I think I would go back and do things differently. I can't teach a man how to be a man. I thought from my work ethic, they would see, well, my mom works, she's making sure, holding it down, and then they would go out and pick women like me. But unfortunately, that did not happen. Um, and it does work both ways. I'm not saying all men, I don't want to bash men. This is not a man bashing session. Um, because I have a son who picked somebody that was the opposite of me. You know, don't want to work, don't want to contribute, don't want to help, you know, um, but he's grown and that's his choice. But I thought my example would have been enough. But with these kids in this generation, it's just a total little different ball game. And I'm so glad that I didn't grow up in the social media part about it. But I just wish for this young lady or other women that are out there that are in these relationships or situations, you just get the strength or the confidence. Start with little things. Start with little things. Like if you don't have to stay with somebody who's not contributing financially. Being a man, and yes, he went to work, but he wasn't, according to them, he wasn't bringing in, he's not helping, right? But I just wish she would have made better choices. It just really, really bothered me, this story. And in front of her kids, it just really, really bothered me. What was you going
But
to say, Stephanie?
he, okay, so what you were saying about things that we were taught growing up, I don't think
Mhm.
mommy really taught us about a lot of life stuff. It was just like pray and seek the Lord, and that's good. I mean, yeah, my foundation is in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. I ain't got no bones about it. I love Jesus, and that's just the way that I roll. But um, we live in a world where we need to know more.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, we need to know more. And you were saying something about self-esteem. Self-esteem does not come from what we have or what we do. Who are we apart from what we have and what we do?
Right, right. And
That
there
is
are a lot of people, yeah. A
that's a
lot of people
question
get,
that you got to ask yourself.
yeah. A lot of people get caught up in the jobs. That's why people, you ever hear about those CEOs or those big wigs that lose their job and then they commit suicide? That's their identity. I work with some people like that, and it's just like, listen, you may be the nursing supervisor here, but when I see you at Food Line and you just a regular customer, some people, they take those titles and it makes them feel important. You know what I mean? And they feel like I am here and you're down there. Um, Same thing with marriages. I know for me in a past life, on my days off, I wanted to know, what are they doing? What are we going to do together? And then if they wanted to do other things, it's like, well, what am I going to do now? Now I'd be on the road. I was in Virginia yesterday. I hit that road and but what are you by yourself? And when I came out of the marriage, I jumped right into the relationship with the narcissist. And then that was over. It was just like learning me again. Now I have hobbies. I have things that I like to do that are not tied to anybody else. It's what I like to do. So you're right. You have to have your own identity. And you also, I mean, I hate when people say, in regards to cheating, it was a mistake. He made a mistake. That's not a mistake. It's premeditated because,
He
first of
made a
all,
choice. He
you
made
made a
a choice.
choice. Obviously, there was an attraction or something that intrigued you about this other person. And then there's always secret conversations that lead up to the do. You don't just
Right,
fall into
right,
bed.
right. It
You just
starts
don't
with the
meet somebody.
conversation.
Right. You just don't meet somebody at the gym and the next thing you know, you're in the hotel room without any conversation. If you really truly love somebody, that person should be on your forefront. You know, that they should come to your mind to say, like, wait, I can't do this to this person. I don't want to lose this person. I think cheating is very selfish. And another thing I hate about cheating is when the women or the cheated on person, it could be a man, they blame themselves. The first thing they say is, oh, she let herself go, or if she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. Or she wasn't, like I watch Vanderpump Rules. I know I love reality TV, and two of the stars, he cheated on her. And in their relationship, they were struggling with sex. Okay. Him wanting to have
What
sex, her,
the frequency?
the frequency of it. Okay. She didn't want to have sex. Okay. So that was his reason. He's saying, we only had sex 4 times a year. Well, if you're with somebody and you're not sexually compatible, and I know it's hard sometimes for women to have those conversations, we do have needs. It's not just a man that wants to have sex. Then the option, you don't cheat, you get out of it. You understand what I'm saying? If the person's not willing to try, if they're not willing, let's say it's an erectile dysfunction, let's just say, if they're not willing to seek help, if they're not willing, or it doesn't have to be that, it could be just they're selfish. It's all about them. They don't care about your needs. They're done, and you're just,
And a lot
left.
of times, sex can be used as a control mechanism.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Definitely with the narcissist. Definitely with the narcissist.
it can be used as a way to control
Mhm.
you, withhold it, to make
Yeah.
you beg for their attention, and you know,
Mhm.
so that listen, I get it. Everyone goes through. I've been married in November 25 years, and it's only
Mhm.
God, because trust me, only God has kept us together. I can't speak for anyone else, but
Mhm.
it's been a journey, but it hasn't been a bad journey. Has every day been
Mhm.
perfect? No, but it has
Right.
been good. I can't believe, I blink my eye. I can't believe that 25 years passed that fast.
Right.
But
Mhm.
it's work. You're not gonna just be married and not work and not consider people's feelings and not have your ups and downs, not have your arguments. But if you're both on the same page and have the same goals, you
Right.
make it
Mhm.
through those seasons. But if one person's going left and the other person's going right, how are you to meet in the middle? And as
Right.
far as cheating, you were saying that the person who's cheated on blames themselves.
Right.
Well, the,
Mhm.
the word of God says man is drawn away by his own lust.
Right.
So that's that person's own issue that drew them away. But they'll try to project that onto you, like, oh, you put on weight, or you doing
Right.
this, you doing
Mhm.
that. That's their own stuff. But because
Right.
they don't want to be accountable, they put it on the person.
Exactly. And it's not just the man who will try to use that. Society will say that. I forget, it's this famous actor. God, she was in Eddie Murphy's Harlem Nights. She was
Robin
Sunshine, the
Williams?
prostitute.
Oh
Hmm?
no, Layla Rashawn. Layla
Didn't her,
Rashawn.
right? Didn't her husband cheat on her? And they say, well, she let herself go. She gained weight and stuff like that. And that's that. Even and these are people that are chiming in saying that it's not you, it's the other person. If somebody has an issue with you, like I said, if the issue is sex, if the issue is your appearance, if they feel you let yourself go, they're not as attracted to you, or whatever the issue may be, the adult who loves you and wants the marriage to work would bring that to you. You would have that conversation together. So don't ever take it on you that it must be something that I am you. And yeah, cheated with Eddie Murphy's ex. Yeah. So don't ever take it on you. And everybody thinks, I think, especially now that we're in the social media age with plastic surgery, with the filtered pictures and stuff like that, it's very easy to compare yourself to other people. and we have to try not to do that. It's very easy. You can't compete with plastic surgery. You can't. There's certain things that you have to accept about yourself, and that if you're not happy with it, change it. Certain things you can change. Certain things like, okay, this is my nose that I was born with. This is my complexion that I was born with. Nowadays, you can. You can have bleaching. I'm sure you can make your skin darker if you want to. You can get a nose job. But I mean, you have to learn this is what makes you you. This is what makes you unique. And try not to get into that self comparison role. I find if I'm comparing myself to somebody, sometimes you have to unfollow people. I hate to say it, because sometimes if you're not at that level where you feel good enough about yourself and your self-esteem is not where it be, sometimes it's okay to unfollow people. Because if you know you're struggling with that, and seeing that post every day, or seeing that post every day makes you feel bad because you can't separate that that's them, that's what makes them unique, that's who they
Mhm.
are, this is who I am. It's okay to not follow them, and it doesn't mean necessarily you're a hater. It's just that you have work that you have to do on yourself. I think that's what jealousy is. It's not you, it's something that they have in them, where they want what you have. Instead of working on them, or you working on yourself, you're looking at other people. Sometimes you have to look away from other people and look at yourself, and that's
That's
okay.
very
that's
true. That's very
that's
true.
okay. That's okay to do. I can't compare myself to certain people. But you have to get to the place where, why would you want to? I'm me. You know what I mean? And that's a lifelong thing. How old am I? 47?
You're 5 years younger than me. So how old are
I
you?
don't even know how old I am, y'all. I think I'm 47. Wait. Anthony's 50. I'm 4 years young. I'm 46, y'all. I'm gonna be 47. But certain things, and I get mad at myself, and you can't be hard on yourself that it why didn't I leave sooner? That was a struggle for me coming out of my first marriage. Like, I should have been gone, and you waste all your good years. Back then I probably could drop it like I'm hot. Now I don't want to hurt myself, you know what I mean? So
But I could, but no experience in life is wasted. I mean, I understand what you're saying, like,
yeah.
God, I wasted all of this time, but
Hmm.
now you have the opportunity to tell other people what you've learned. I
Right.
always like to say, take the L and turn it into a lesson. You know, it doesn't have to be a loss, it could be a lesson because this young lady that we're springboarding off of her story was 28 years old. I have a son who's going to be 31. So as far as I'm concerned, she could have been my daughter.
Right. Oh yeah,
And
Sheldon's going to be 29.
and
So
you got to be careful who you have around you because like just that whole situation where Mom Dukes is in the back egging her on. You got to have people that will call you out on your drama. If there's nobody that will call you out, you shouldn't you need to stop talking to your husband like that. That dress is a little too tight. You don't need nobody co-signing your drama. That's
right.
not a real friend or somebody who's there for you. You need somebody to call you out on stuff that needs to be corrected. And that doesn't mean in a bad way, but I don't want
Right.
people around me that are always going to be, oh, you're so great. You're so great. I need somebody that's going to sit down and talk to me like, this is what I see,
Right.
and give me some feedback. You got to
Right.
be able
Mhm.
to have hard conversations that are uncomfortable. That comes with the level of maturity in any relationship. You gotta have to have hard conversations that are uncomfortable. But
Well,
out of those
mhm.
conversations come good things if
Right.
you accept it.
Right. Like, I wish the girlfriends that were around me at the time, and I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming them. That's why I said you have to be careful who you confide in and who you talk to. I wish that they would have said, listen, Erica, get out. You deserve better. I didn't get that. I got, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, girl.
But
That's
how could
why.
they tell you that? Were they in relationships that were bad too?
Yeah, that's and it started. The saying went, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. That's why I do me too. You know what I mean? And that's not the life that I wanted. I don't want to be in that tit for tat. Okay, he did this, so I'm going to do that. I did not want that. That's just not a happy place to be. Um, Accepting less than you deserve is not acceptable. And sometimes you have to be careful who, because I had a girlfriend who was accepting less than I know she accepted. And when I told her, she got mad with me and blames me for her relationship ending. And so you have to be careful who you give advice to also, because not everybody wants to receive it. And she come out blank and told me, I didn't ask you for your advice. I just want you to listen. Meaning she didn't want my advice. She just wanted me to be there to hear her vent.
Well, I
Okay.
call people like that time wasters. She wanted to come and dump on you and waste your time talking about a situation that she knew wasn't going nowhere and
Exactly.
keep it moving. People, I know somebody like that too. I used to cut the conversation. I'm not your dumping ground. We
Right.
didn't have this conversation before. It's like a hamster on a wheel. So we're not going to talk about that because I've
Right.
already told you what I feel about that situation. And just because you know something, knowledge doesn't mean power. People always
Mhm.
say knowledge is power. Knowledge is power when you use it.
Right.
If you know something and you don't do it, I know the fire's hot, but I still put my hand on it. That's not
Right.
power.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you take the knowledge that you have and you use it, you implement it, that's wisdom.
Right.
Anybody can have knowledge. You can have a head full of knowledge, but the wisdom is applying it.
That's like book smart. I work with a lot of book smart nurses, but nursing is common sense. And some people don't have common sense, and those are the worst nurses, just so you know. So, yeah, like you said, knowledge is power when you use it and you know how to apply it. And yes, the mother was egging her on. So that's what I'm saying. You can't teach what you don't know. So who knows what example she's seen from her mother growing up. And again, like it's very, very unfortunate, just like that over something so stupid. He wouldn't cook for the kids. He was trying to leave. He was trying to go out to work. And that's what really upset me is because I have been there arguing with somebody, practically begging somebody, trying to get them to see what they had, trying to get them to see me. Somebody who loves you, somebody who wants to be with you, they see you. You don't have to tell, yeah, okay, with I Spy, sometimes I have to tell him certain things, but I don't have to, those are minor trivial things. You understand? I'm not telling him to see that you have a good wife, see that you have a good woman, to appreciate me. Yeah, I don't have, you don't, when somebody's into you, when somebody wants you, you don't have to tell them. You don't have to like, hey, look at me, look at me. You don't have to seek their attention. They're going to give it to you because they want to. And a person's going to do what they want to do. Many times you hear of people in relationships never get nothing from that significant other. The relationship ends and then they go into that relationship and then they're giving that person everything that she's been asking for. It's because he didn't want to do it with you. She didn't want to do it with you. A person's going to do what they want to do. You don't have to keep repeating yourself. You don't have
They
to
heard
beg.
you the first time.
They heard you the first time. They heard you the second time, the third time, the fourth, but maybe they tuned out after a while, but they know. But why do they keep doing this? Because it's allowed. Sometimes you have to, anything like somebody said, the first time you're the victim, because you can't control people. You have no control over another person's action. So if they do something to you the first time, okay, that's the first time. But when you allow the repeated things over and over again, you go from victim to volunteer. Okay.
Yeah.
And they know you ain't going nowhere. You know how many times I done gave the narcissist 30 days notice, sent emails, this serves as your 30, you got to go. I'm done. I'm moving on. And they know when you're serious and when you're not serious. And they don't take you serious, first of all, because you allow it. And a lot of times somebody does something to you when you're dealing with a manipulator, and everybody's not a narcissist. I just want to say, you just have
But some
some
people can be toxic.
people are just toxic. Some people have narcissistic traits. Some people are just manipulators. Some people are just users. Not everybody is a narcissist. I just want to put that out because that term has become so Everybody who does you wrong, oh, they're narcissists. That's not true.
My
You
husband,
just have to,
my husband hates that word. He's like,
you just
everybody's a narcissist.
But everybody's not though. They exist. Don't get it twisted. They exist. When I was in nursing school, we did psych and they didn't even talk about that. So I had no clue what I was dealing with until God sent me to this Facebook page. This woman was doing a free webinar and I chimed in and I was like, this is what I've been dealing with. I thought he just was a cheater or a liar or a manipulator. No, I was married to somebody like that who was that, but he wasn't a narcissist. So I just want to make that clear that everybody's
So
not a narcissist.
I find that interesting that you were able to see the difference. Like, husband was a cheater. This
Right.
guy was a narcissist. That
Yes.
they're two different things.
They're two different people. They're two different. They're two different. It's a different situation. And until you really deal with one, once you deal with one, you'll be able to separate the two. I can't explain it, but I know for a fact the first one was a manipulator. He took advantage of me. He was a user. He was an adulterer. Um, Lord, I'm just so happy I'm free. But the second one, no, it was different. It just lined up with everything. The love bombing, the first date love bombing, the interview where I felt like I was being interrogated, and they become everything. And with all the information that they're pulling out of you in the initial meetings and initial dates, that's who they become. They become the
So
opposite
you fell
of
in
that.
love with yourself because he was mirroring you.
Mirroring you and everything that I said my ex didn't do. Like I said, he didn't contribute financially, he didn't help around the house. On payday, I was getting half the paycheck, half the check. Cleaning would clean with a toothbrush. I never
Yeah.
seen nobody clean grout spotless, cook, help. For the first 6 months, the perfect person. Then the mask came off, but I didn't know it was a mask. And then the torture began.
Mm.
You understand? By that time, you're hooked, you're in, and they know it. And then, just like that, it's like the rug pulled under you. And please, thank God I came out of that.
I
And
did
to me,
not know he was a narcissist because I didn't know what a narcissist was. But what I seen when you were with him, I wasn't none the wiser. I didn't know anything. I was
well,
like,
they know how to put on in front of people, in front of family. They're actors. That's what they are, actors. And they
meanwhile,
play,
behind closed doors, he's
yeah.
different.
Yeah, and a lot of them have drug addictions. A lot of them are very promiscuous. It's just a horrible, horrible experience that I don't wish on anyone. And the worst part about it is coming out of it, I think was the mind game. It's the fact that you realize that you were giving somebody your all and you were sincere, and for them, and you're just another source of
Mhm.
supply. It's just another gig. Okay, I got to be L smells with her and with her. Keeping up with all of their different roles. You're just the acting gig. That's it. And when they're finished, if they don't discard you first, and it doesn't end until the discard. So whether you get rid of them or they get rid of you, it doesn't end. And if you let them back, forget about it. It's going to be worse. It doesn't get any better. So if you feel that you're dealing with somebody, I'm not a narcissist expert, but like I said, I follow ASSC Direct, and I have followed other YouTubers that put out videos that helped me identify what I was dealing with. I suggest you start doing some research. But regardless of whatever relationship you're in, it has to be reciprocal. It
Right.
can't be just you putting in everything. It can't be just you, like she's arguing with him about cooking for the kids, about helping, and you let it take you to that point where you feel you need to pull out a gun. And she said that she didn't know. She just said she didn't know that a bullet was in the chamber. But the fact that you took it to the level, because before the gun got pulled out, it was a physical scuffle.
Yeah, I
She's
heard it.
slapping at him. She's trying to take his phone. She's pulling at him and all this other stuff. And then her phone gets knocked down and you hear a scuffle in the background. Um, that's you trying to force yourself, trying to stop them from going. It's just that we shouldn't let anybody or anything take us to that place. And that's where it goes back to a low self-esteem. When you don't know your worth, you just accept anything. And once you get standards, okay, and you might not know you have a low self-esteem. You might not, but I have to tell you, people with high self-esteem, I don't feel, this is my personal opinion, they go through certain things. I'll give you a perfect example. The narcissist had this girl that just never seemed to go away. And snooping, trying to find answers of what he was doing, I went through and he had left his email open. And this was before we got together. She told him, I can't be with you because you can't give me what I want. Because she knew things that I didn't know.
Mm.
I did not know that he was living in a homeless shelter. Okay, do you think he told me that on first date? He showed up to the first date in a suit.
Wow.
Okay, he worked at what I now call as a telemarketer. Okay, trying to sell loans, but he made it sound like he was in finance. So you have this man show up to the first date. He's 6'3". I never dated anybody that tall. He was over 6 feet. I'm saying 6'3". I don't know, but it was over 6 feet. Showing up in a suit, knew big words, loved to read, so he knew things. You know what I mean? And I don't know at this time, this man is homeless. Okay. And has a curfew and got to get back to the shelter. I mean, he was in the city. So I'm thinking, oh, he's commuting from the city. I didn't know where he lived. And what should have been a giveaway, if you can't ask questions, that should be a giveaway. I asked him, where did he live once? And I asked him a couple of questions and he got up. He was over hanging out. That man got up and got out of there quick, fast, in a hurry. And didn't and it ignored me, as they call what do they call, gaslight you or
Mm-hmm.
ghost you, ghosted me.
Oh, he
Because
goes,
I asked
you
the
wanted some
question.
answers.
And me asking you where you live, because if I'm always seeing you and you always coming to my place and I'm always seeing you after work, I think I have a right, and it's just basic conversation that a normal person would not feel offended from about, you know what I mean? That should have been a sign there, but again, I didn't know. That was initially in the beginning. And but what he really put on the facade and he really put it on thick. He really put it on thick. He became, I thought, everything that
He
I
was
was waiting
Prince
for.
Charming. He was the man that you had been waiting for.
And
But
that's another thing.
if
Go
you
ahead.
don't, if you don't, you were saying self-esteem leads you to put up with certain things, and people with higher self-esteem don't deal with certain things.
Yeah.
If you don't go back, you got to go back to go forward. You got to go
Mhm.
back to see where those seeds of low self-esteem were planted, and you got to go back to childhood. Everything starts back in childhood, and you got to go back to that place and find those seeds, and you have to uproot them.
Mhm.
Because if you don't, you'll be dating the same person with a different name.
Right.
You'll be making the same mistakes, but still the underlying pattern. You'll still be making the same financial mistakes. It's not just relationships, everything spills over into other areas of our life.
Right.
And that's the work that people don't want to do. When you say people need to be honest and talk to somebody, okay, but that's where the work starts. That's where you got to get to those uncomfortable places that you don't want to talk about.
Right. Mhm.
It's easier just to be like, that's the past. Your past will keep revisiting you until you deal with it.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
So if you wonder why your life may be in a cycle, You gotta get in a quiet place and figure things out. And sometimes journaling is very good because
Mhm.
sometimes when you journal, the words just come, they just flow, and then you'll read it and discover something that you didn't know
Mhm.
about yourself, or you'll discover a hurt that you had. You gotta go back to go forward. You
Right.
cannot brush over stuff. You cannot brush over past hurts, past wounds. You cannot do it because
Yeah.
you'll never go forward.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing at 51 years old. That's what I'm doing.
Right. Mhm.
And it's eye opening because you realize why you thought a certain way, why you had a certain perception of yourself, a certain perception of others.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's just very enlightening, you know, I
Yeah.
find it to be.
Right. And so what I was saying about the self-esteem, this particular person, and I'm saying she has a high self-esteem, but she just put it out there and she was blatantly honest. At least she knew that you got babies. And at that time, when we first met, he didn't tell me he just had another child. He only spoke of one son who he wasn't in their life. And that's something you have to look at somebody's family. Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't judge somebody based on where they come from or their family. But if they don't have good relationships with their family, they don't get along with their mother, you got to start asking, you don't be afraid to ask questions, because there's some issues there. Just like you heard the term daddy issues, mommy issues, a lot of times that will carry on into their other relationships. If they can't get along with family and, close significant others, sometimes they struggle in their personal relationships as well. And at least she had the sense to say, hey, I like hanging out with you. We have a good time, because he was fun. Don't get me wrong. When we went out, we had a good time. He was fun. But that's not dealing with them on a 7 day a week basis. That's just, okay, we're going to meet next Saturday and we're going to have a good time. And I'll see you when I see you. That's the kind of relationship that they had. But she knew, I guess he was trying to pursue something else. Maybe he wanted to get out the shelter and go stay with her. She knew that you ain't, uh-uh. We could come
That's like
out,
in
but
Dear John, that Dear John, that Netflix
oh,
thing. He
yes,
got out of where didn't he get out of the shelter? And her daughter was like, Mom, he looks like he just came from a homeless shelter. And he surely did.
that's what I'm saying. So when you recognize to say, hey, I I deserve somebody, and it's, listen. Sometimes people fall on bad times. Some people struggle. It could be somebody that lost their job, and that's why they're in the homeless shelter. But my thing is this: I'm not a therapist. We got to stop this build a bear mentality that I'm going to build him up. I've been there, done that. You understand? You shouldn't have to build somebody up. A positive relationship is two whole people. If you're half, okay, and they're half, yeah, you put that together and make one, but that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. Okay, my half, and then he's 25%. We're gonna get together. No, that's not how it works. You have to come whole, they have to come whole. Okay. You can't try this build a bear. I'm going to build him up. I'm going to help him find a job. You should not be looking for a job for somebody. And I've been there and I've done that with my first husband. Okay, let's say he lost a job. So, well, hey, here's the help wanted. No, it's not my responsibility. You understand what I'm saying? It's not my responsibility to help you find a job. It's not my responsibility to help you. You get so caught up. At least I know I can speak for personal experience. You get so caught up because I'm an empath. That's where you feel sorry for other people. And there's nothing wrong with having empathy and compassion, but you have to have boundaries. You know what I mean? When I got out of the relationship with the narcissist, yes, I did date. And I met this guy. He seemed nice. Now, he had a job, he had a car, he seemed stable financially. So that was a plus. Okay, coming from my past experiences. But he was dealing with the loss of his mother.
Mm.
And we met right before Mother's Day. Up until Mother's Day, we were having great conversation. We went on a couple of dates. We were having fun. But then Mother's Day came around and he went into a deep depression.
Wow.
Everything changed. Okay. On our first date, he was showing me pictures of his mother's funeral of her in the casket.
Oh my God.
Now,
I mean,
okay,
I'm not laughing. People grieve differently. I wasn't laughing
people
at
grieve
that, but
people
that's
grieve differently, but you have to not ignore. You can't be in the, how could I say it? You can't want something so bad and ignore red flags. Okay.
well, sometimes red flags look like hearts.
Okay. So you can't ignore red flags. So coming out of the relationship with the narcissist who told me that he was molested as a child and told me about childhood issues, again, you can't repair somebody because obviously you're still dealing with these issues. He
Right.
did not get along with his mother. He was like kind of estranged from his family. So coming out of that, I started to be able to recognize certain things because the old Erica might have stuck with it. Oh, hi, Betty. Yeah, Betty. Um, So the old Erica would have probably, well, let me try to help him. Let me try. I ended things. Things ended because I recognized the depression. He started acting very distant. Actually, he hit two people. Lived in a city and he hit two elderly people crossing road. Now, I'm not saying that was related. It might not have been related, but it was just he was started to show that he was going through things, and I was able to end things because I recognized from a past experience that I'm not a therapist. I can't help repair this person. Obviously they need to work on themselves and deal with this grieving or whatever it is before they decide to get into another relationship. And that kind of, coming out of that situation, watching RC Blake's videos and the narcissist videos and making my a few failed dates, okay, a few failed dates, um, making that decision that it's okay if I'm alone. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not settling. I'm not going on dates. And just because they buy you a $10 meal, they want you to give up the goods the same night. Making that decision that I'm done. If I got to be by myself and have a hot girl summer, that's just what's going to be. And then I feel once I got standards, once I made a decision of what I wasn't going to accept and just turning down people, that's when I met who is now my husband. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get so caught up, your standards are low. You're not even looking at the valuable people that are around you because
You're
maybe
looking
I
down
don't,
here.
you're
You're
looking
looking
down
down there.
because you're down. You
Right.
don't, your self-esteem is down. So you're not maybe looking up because maybe you don't feel that you deserve that. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel that people and women that have that self-esteem, yeah, listen, Beyonce got cheated on. Some of the best have been cheated on. So it's not a weight thing. It's not an appearance thing. It's not a status thing. I find it's the other person making these choices, but you don't have to put up with it. You know what I mean? You could make it the decision that, listen, yeah, okay, I'm married. Like me, I wanted my kids to grow up with the father in the household because I didn't have that. I didn't have the natural father. I had a stepfather, but I did not have that natural father who I had these kids with. And I feel that that's the wrong thing to do. I'll tell you why, because you teach your kids dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
People think the kids are not paying attention. My kids have told me things that happened when they were toddlers that I forgot about. You understand what I'm saying? That I forgot about.
Well, that was a running theme in our family. The kids need
Mhm.
their father. And I totally agree. Children need their father, but do they need to be living in a home with a father who's abusive, who's a drug addict, who treats the mother terribly? Is that why we need a father in the house? And that's how our family was. The father has to be in the house.
Right.
So that's why you thought like that.
Right. And that's what I wanted, and that's why I stayed. And of course, I regret that. Of course, I regret that because you teach dysfunction. And another thing that we were taught, especially I got pregnant at 17. Okay. We were,
17?
you know, high
You
school
was
sweet.
younger than me.
Yeah.
I was 19.
And in my family and our family, it was, well, you should get married,
Yeah.
don't have a child out of wedlock, but you already had the child out of wedlock. You're pregnant. Um, it's better to marry than to burn. Okay.
See, well, your ex went for that. My son's father, mommy was like, "You can wear my dress," and she had it all set. Mommy could get you married quick, fast, in a hurry.
Right.
But my son's
And
father was like, "Nah, I'm not doing that." And I was crushed, but thank God he said no, because I would have got married just because of how we were raised. But he was
right.
not. He was like, "Nah, I can't do that." And I'm glad he
And
said no.
I wish he would have said no, but he didn't. But we thought we were in love. We thought we were in love, and maybe we were, to the best of our the best of what we thought was love. I would never encourage anybody to get married, especially when you have no life experience. Okay. It's not something you just jump into at all at any age, but especially when you're young. And I when my son when his girlfriend was pregnant with Chunk, I would never encourage that. You don't get married just because you have kids. And another thing that the Christian will say, well, God ordained marriage. Okay, but God also told you don't be unequally yoked. You can't expect God to bless your mess. You can't expect God to bless a marriage that he didn't tell you to get into. You can't go out and make these decisions and then say, well, it's in the Bible, marriage is in the Bible, so God is going
And
to work it
abuse is
out.
sin. If you're being abused, that's sin.
Yeah.
God does not condone abuse. So this whole stay and pray and you getting your brains knocked out, no, separate yourself and get to a place of safety.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell anybody.
Right.
Get
And
yourself to a place of safety and pray for
abuse
him over there.
Right. And abuse is not just always physical. Okay. That's important to understand also. There's other ways that abuse can happen. So somebody will say, well, he's not hitting me. But somebody putting you down, somebody talking down to you, somebody manipulating you. I just, if you don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. I mean, we're talking a lot about, relationships and, marriages, because this was a married couple that this happened to. But you could be abused by your kids.
Yes,
You could be
Lord.
abused by your kids. You could be taken advantage of by your kids. It could be a
By your
job. It could be
job, by
a
your church.
friendship. Yeah, a friendship. So y- you got to learn how to deal with it. It's not just romantic relationships that these things can happen to you. It could be, like I said, friendships, family relationships. You have to be able to recognize, and don't be afraid to advocate for yourself and say, hey, I don't like the way this feels.
Right.
Me, I was a people pleaser. I was, I took on the weight of the responsibility on my shoulders. And that's not right. You're not by yourself. You know what I mean? Especially in you're not by yourself. It's not right for you. Now, if you're single, that's one thing. But if you're with somebody and you're having to do everything, that's not right. And that's not right. And don't be afraid. Well, if I say something, he may leave. Well, let him leave. You're by yourself anyway.
Right.
You're literally by yourself anyway. I always, and I think it carried on from my past. I mean, 19 years is a long time, even though, like, my sister's going to be married 25 years, it does fly by. But sometimes you get so conditioned. And I still feel I struggle with certain things when it comes to money, because I only had my paycheck that I could count on. Yes, he was going to work, but I couldn't count on that paycheck. We would get paid the same day, and by Monday, his money would be gone. What did you do with it? You didn't pay one bill. So I think, especially Anthony could tell you, and even people, friends, anybody who, let's say I was planning a girls' trip and I laid out the money, I would be on their butt. I want my money because I was taken advantage of financially. I was used financially for so long. It's hard. It was hard for me when I first started dating Anthony. I Spy, that's Anthony. When I first started dating him, it was hard for me to accept and receive because I was so used to giving and people taking from me. And that's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay for you to be taken advantage of. And that translated even to the relationship with my kids. You, at a certain point, and somebody made a comment that, Black parents, as soon as their kids get 18, they want to kick them out. They want to, they grown, and that's not right. Other kids, from other nationalities, their parents let them stay home. They paid for their college. They help them get on their feet before they put them out there. I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong, but what I'm saying is it's not okay for your child to go out there and make a baby, right? I'm saying you're grown enough to go out there and have a child, right? It's not okay for me, just because I'm the grandmother, that I have to be taking care of that child's necessities, where you're using me to help you, but your money that you have is going towards your personal life, your personal pleasures or whatever. And then because I'm the grandmother, and because I'm the mother, or because I'm the mother that brought you in this world, I have to take care of you forever. That's not okay.
No,
That's
absolutely
not
not.
acceptable. But because I was so used, and kids learn behavior, and this particular child is very manipulative. And I think, their father was very manipulative. So that could be also a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And now the relationship is severed, and we're going to do a separate video about kids, adult kids. Now the relationship is severed because I closed the wallet.
Well, when you said standards, when your standards come up, when your standards come up, it affects all relationships in your life.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when you start setting boundaries and standards, you'll see who's there for the perks and who's there for you. Because if especially our kids, and kids seem to think that parents are the never ending money train. But
Right.
I don't mind helping no parent minds helping their kids. We're not talking about that. We're
Right.
talking about when your adult children are taking advantage of you
Right.
financially. That's
Right.
what we're talking
And
about.
and also, don't let people tell you, once you get these standards, and once you say I'm not, you set boundaries, get standards, okay? You're just not going to accept certain things. You'll see who's really there for you, and if those people will start falling away, and it might be family. It might be family. And then they'll try to twist it on you and say you changed, or she thinks she's all of that. It's not that you think you're all of that. You're just not going to accept what you used to. And somebody who truly loves you and supports you, they're going to be happy that you've leveled up. Anybody who's not happy for you when you level up, they never were there before you. And I had to learn that there were certain people around me that they could not wait for me to come back to work for my days off, because they wanted to hear horror stories. And then when my life changed and I no longer had horror stories, and I had positive days off, and I had positive stories to share, you become boring. You have to look at that as well. You have to look at your circle and stuff like that. And it is hurtful sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you, because with this particular child, I didn't do nothing to. I just stopped giving. You know what I mean? I just stopped giving. And the reason why, you can't call me just when you want something. That's not a relationship. And a relationship is two-sided. That's what
Yeah.
we need to understand. Relationships are two-sided. It's give. It shouldn't be just you giving. It shouldn't be one-sided. It shouldn't be you wanting to do everything, you planning everything, you setting setting everything up and stuff like that. It works. It's reciprocated. It should be I do for you, you do for me. And when you so now I stopped giving you. Now you can't call me when you want $5. $10, $20, $40. Now you don't talk to me no more. Won't answer messages, won't answer a phone call. It is hurtful. Don't get me wrong, it does bother me, especially when I look back at all the sacrifices I made. What you need to understand is you can't expect people to give you what you gave. They are not you. You
Right.
cannot expect people to be like you. And that was something I had to learn. Because just because you're not a liar, you're not a cheater, you're not a manipulator, you're not a user, you can't think that that next person isn't. They're not you. You can't assume that people are going to be like you. They don't have your same standards. There's some people that will cut you if they had to. You know what I mean? Me, it would have to be no other option. You know what I mean? But there are people out there that will do the lowest, and some of those people may be blood related to you.
Yeah, and we're taught that, you know, it's family, so it's okay. No, you even have to set boundaries with family. If family's bringing you down, if family is not elevating you, you know, when you speak, you always got to pay attention to how you feel after you spend time with somebody. After you spend
Mhm.
time with them, after you talk to them, how do you feel? If
Right,
you don't feel good, you need to assess that and start setting some boundaries. You know, every time
right.
the phone rang, you don't got to pick it up. That's
Hmm.
your boundary. I'm not talking to this person today. I don't have
Hmm.
the energy to deal with that. And it's nothing
Right.
wrong with that,
Hmm.
family or not.
Right. Hmm.
And you are
Yeah.
a giver. Erica is a giver. She, every
Mhm.
time I see her, she always gives me stuff. I'm going to see her in May, and I know I'm coming home with a whole lot of stuff because she's a
Mhm.
giver. When she lived in New York, she was just a giver. Oh, come by. She gave me so much stuff, holiday stuff. I decorated my whole house, 3 floors, with stuff that she gave me. She's just a giver. And
Mhm.
I appreciate that about her because she will give you, she'll be like, oh, I have a little something for you. It's a big old tub with everything from A to Z. She's a giver.
Right. But you have to, like I said, it should feel good to give. Okay. I don't want to be in that position where I feel like I have to. Um, you know, like I feel going back to being a grandmother, I feel grandparents are the extra.
Yes.
Let's say you want to send them to a special camp and the camp is 2000. Can you go half with me? That's where grandparents step in, not providing housing, food, the everyday necessities. And I felt like I was being used, and they knew how close I was to Chunk, how much I love my Chunka. He was being, that was like being dangled, you know, over me. And if I don't give, then you can't see him and stuff like that. And I had to be able to, I hate this may let me just, I hope you get what I'm saying. I had to be able to not be afraid to lose that relationship with my grandson. Okay. And it has suffered because of the relationship with his parents, because he's just a kid. He's just a baby. He can't call me. And now I'm in another state. When I left New York, he was taken to Florida with the mother. So, like, when you're the grandmother, you don't have a lot of control. But I had to be afraid. I had to lose that fear of um, losing that relationship with him. But thankfully, even though there has been a time of separation, he still remembers me. It's like whenever
Right.
longer prison. So what we've been talking about tonight is, and the whole reason why it sparked this conversation, that unfortunately was a tragedy that sparked this conversation, but that's just one relationship, the relationship with my grandson. But no matter what kind of relationship that you're in, whether it's your children, your job, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever kind of you can't be afraid to lose that. You can't be a free. You have to be able to say, you know what, it's out of my control. But I'm not. I'm no longer going to be abused, used, manipulated, just so I could have. I'm going to be honest with you. I have even paid sometimes when I was in New York. You know, The thing was, oh, do you have $10 I can borrow or $20 I can borrow? Okay, yes. Can I see the baby? You understand what I'm saying? So to me, that was me paying to be a grandmother. You understand? Because what would have happened if I would have said no? Would I
They
would
would
have been
have had
able to
something,
stay there?
that, that is definitely a spirit of manipulation. But with maturity and prayer, that can change. But like you said, um, when you make up your mind that you're not going to be used and abused just to do this or that or be with this person, they don't have power over you anymore.
Right.
There's a level
Yeah.
of freedom that comes when you make up your mind that says, this is
Yeah.
what it is, stay or go, no matter who it is. And
No
there's a
matter
level
who
of
it is. Yeah.
freedom that comes with that, making that decision, because you got to honor yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to honor yourself. Us as women, we put everybody before us all the
Mm-hmm.
time. You know, even something simple as serving dinner. You serve everybody, and then you sit down, your food is cold. You know,
Yeah.
everybody, you doing everybody's laundry, meanwhile yours is piled up. You know, we have
Mm-hmm.
to not be feel guilty, because where you remember that song by Karen White, I'm not your superwoman. You know, there's a level of like pressure that's put on women. You can bring home the bacon fried up in the pan, never let him forget he's a man. No, I'm not doing all of that. I'm
Right.
not
Mm-hmm.
bringing home the bacon. I'm not frying it up. You ain't gonna work me all day and not talk to me, and then at night think so. No, we're not doing that. We're giving ourselves honor, and no matter in any relationship that we are in, and people got to come up.
Right.
They may not like it, but if they love you, they will come up.
Like you don't have to beg. They heard you the first time. You don't have to beg. And if they have to make the decision, he's not going to change. The fifth time I caught him sending messages on Facebook, he's obviously not going to change. You have to make the decision. And unfortunately, decision to stay. They have made the decision. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Love and Marriage Hunt. The main character of the show, Melody, because they were clearly bashing this woman. She stayed all them years, and the woman finally left. And her life is flourishing, and she's doing so much better. And I just don't understand why she's so hated, because she made the decision to finally leave. When there are some women who stay, they accept it, they have that mentality, that's what men do. And I've had somebody tell me when I was coming out of my first marriage, well, at least you got the last name. She don't have the last name. What the heck is this? What do I care about this man's last name, and he's doing me dirty? I don't want his name. I don't care about. Oh, I had set the alarm because I said we were gonna stick to the time, but I always end up talking. So Lord, we always go over the hour. But I don't care about his last name. What is that doing me? What is that doing just to say it's like a status thing? Well, you're the wife. But that's not how a wife should be treated. That's a title. Mom is a title. Wife is a title, sister is a title. But if somebody is your mom, your sister, your husband, they treat you like dirt, what do you care about the titles for? It's wrong. It's wrong, and you should feel guilty. You should not feel guilty. I think I would have left the first marriage much sooner, but I was afraid to, and I understand fear. It wasn't financially. Thank God I don't have that situation. There are some women that are in situations, but they don't know how they'll make it, because he provides. He doesn't provide anything else, but he has the roof. He has the credit. Everything's in his name. Maybe they were home. They put their family first, so they didn't finish their degree. They don't have the career. They don't have the finances. Thank God I never was in that position where financially I could not make moves. Thank God. And I understand that might be your situation or somebody's situation, but there's always ways out of it. It's just not okay to stay somewhere because you have a roof over your head. You know what I mean? 'Cause that roof has become really your prison because you're
Yep.
stuck there. A lot of the women from 9/11, I was reading a news article, their husbands unfortunately died in that tragedy, and they didn't even know how to get to money. They didn't even know, what to do because they relied on this person. It's okay to have a significant other. It's great when you have that a good, healthy significant other, a healthy relationship. There's nothing better than that. But it can't be to the point where you lose you or you don't know what you do without this person or whatever like that. It just can't be to that point. It has to be you matter. You're just as equally important. And you can get so caught up in doing and helping people that you forget who you are. You're more than just a mom, a grandma, a worker on somebody's payroll, a friend. That you're more than that. And you can't be afraid to separate when you're treated as less than. You have to know what you bring to the table. And a lot of us still don't realize that. I think a lot of us still don't realize what we bring to the table. We get so caught up in the other person. I used to hate it. I used to hate it when I first met I Spy, and people would be like, "Oh, he's so good. He's so nice." And don't get it twisted. It's not me putting him down, but I find women praise men for doing the basic. It shouldn't be a plus that he has a job. He should have a job. The Bible says if a man don't work, he shouldn't eat. It shouldn't be, oh, he got a car. Well, shouldn't he? You got a car. I'm just saying, I find that we got to stop praising people for doing what they're supposed to do. There's certain things that you should bring to the table. At a certain age in life, you should be stable. You should be able to put a roof over your head. Even though he's in jail now, I still like him. Chrisley, the man, he was on Oprah. And he said, if a man can't put a roof over your head, he shouldn't be in your bed. I mean, why would you want to be with somebody that, God forbid, you got sick? And this is something, I get off topic a lot. And I always worried about money, okay, because my first relationship, he was not financially stable, okay? So I really could not count on his money. God forbid something happened to me and I got sick. I don't know where, I'd probably be in a nursing home somewhere. I'm not trying to be funny, but you should not have that fear. You know what I mean? That only you're the glue holding everything together. You can't possibly be everything. You can't. We bring a lot to the table, yes, but you can't possibly, if you feel like everything's going to crumble if something happened to you, then you're in the wrong situation.
Right. And because you were like that, it allowed him to be irresponsible because he knew
And you
you were
become an
going to take care
enabler.
of
You become an
everything. Yep.
he was messaging me after the separation. He didn't even know how to fill out a money order.
Oh,
Okay, he
Lord
didn't
have
even know how
mercy.
to fill out a money order, and he's older than me. Okay, so you have to. It was like he was a third child. It really was like he was a third child. And I'm not. Listen, this is not about bashing him or putting him down. I'm just keeping it real. Um, you take somebody else's. He was spoiled and privileged, and then you take over. And the role went from romantic partner to like parent or caretaker. You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with taking care of your significant other, treating your significant other, but it can't be before yourself. Like
Right.
we used to go to the mall, he would get a new outfit, the kids would get a new outfit, and I was Raggedy Andy. And I think part of my issue now with shopping, and I could keep it real. I'm going to keep it real with you. I shop a lot. I think because in my younger years, I couldn't. Even though I made good money, I was a nurse since I was 25. I was making money, even, excuse me, before I was a nurse. I was in restaurant management. I made
Yes.
money. I
Erica
brought money
always
in.
made money. You was a hard worker.
Right. So it wasn't the issue of me not having the money, but when you have to take care of other people, that money goes from you and you're putting it into them. You have to pick up their slack. So you pay your portion of the bills, but because they're short on theirs, then you got to kick that in. And then the kids need stuff. And then, you know what I mean? I've made money. So getting with I Spy, he probably thought I was crazy in the beginning
Why
because
my brother-in-law I Spy?
his name is I Spy because he's all up in my business, in my bags, what I bought, and it irks the hell out of me. What's in the trunk? And mind your business. Look at your closet. Look at your trunk. You spying on me for. You understand? That's why he's I Spy.
Oh, I never
Definitely.
heard you call him that.
He's I Spy. All in my business. But anyway, so getting with him and getting with somebody who was more financially responsible and stuff like that, I was treating him like I treated the others. You know what I mean? If a bill was due or I thought he wasn't going to pay it, I would like freak out. He probably was like, calm down. I know what I'm supposed to do. But, it just was that habit of what I was used to.
That. Well, you said like you shop a lot now because you couldn't shop in your younger years. I just had a revelation. The Holy Spirit revealed to me. I would go, now we talk about keeping it real. I would go to like Macy's or TJ Maxx or Marshalls, fill up the cart. I'm trying on stuff and just shove it in the corner and leave. I mean, being in the store for like 2 hours trying on stuff. But you know what? I always tried to say, oh, it was because I was a mother when I was 20. I was always putting, my son first. No, it wasn't that I didn't have the money. It was just like, I didn't think I was worthy of it. I don't need it. I don't really need that.
That's another thing too. Yeah.
Take all that time. And it was literally the people at the store must be like, who is this person that put all this stuff in this cart? And I would just shove it in the corner and leave. But the reason why I just felt like I wasn't worthy, like I could just do without. It wasn't, but I was under the impression that I was like that because I had been a mother since I was young, but I'm not a single mother anymore. My son is 30. I got married when he was 5. So that it was something deeper than that. I didn't feel worthy. So I didn't need it. And that was like maybe a month ago. I was in a workshop and we were talking about, issues and women knowing their worth. And I was like, oh my God, that's why I did that, because I didn't feel worthy.
Well, did you feel that the poor people that had to put the stuff away, were they worthy?
Girl, I know them people at Marshalls and TJ Maxx and whatever store I did that in, they was tight because it was like a whole build myself up. Oh, this looks cute. Oh, I like this. And boop, walk right out the store.
I used to, because it was a habit in other relationships. When I went to a store, I'm going there to do something for me and probably not get anything for myself. Now, yes, I do buy I Spy things, but I'm going there for me. And sometimes I have things in the cart for him and I put it back like he could get it. And I hate to say, you don't want to, they say that, he always jokes with me all the time. He has it hard because of my past. And you don't want to make the other people suffer, but sometimes you have to. I feel bad, but that's just what it is. I don't think
it's anything to feel bad about. What I think you're doing is reprogramming yourself, reprogramming that way of thinking that everybody else comes first. He knows that if you wanted to buy him something, you would.
Oh yeah, and I do. A lot of times that I do, but
I think it's that's not reprogramming ourselves from that mindset of us not feeling worthy of putting other people ahead of us. And it's funny how it comes out in little things like shopping, like
Right.
leaving full carts in the corner at TJ Maxx. You know what I'm saying?
Now, if anything, Stephanie, when I fill up a cart, like sometimes, especially lately at Dollar Tree, I don't buy everything I see. And I don't know what my obsession with Dollar Tree is. I don't know if it feels good just to buy whatever you want, I don't know. But also, I will say, I don't like paying full price for things. And I've always been a deal diva way before my Dollar Tree obsession. I like sales. I do not like to pay full price. I don't. And I just like getting things for cheaper. A lot of times I think for me, it's more than why I give so much stuff away is because for me, it's the rush of the deal. Like, yes, I got this for $1.25. I think that's what it is because they had the Golly vitamins. I bought 7 of them. I took some to a coworker. I don't even take them. You know what I mean? And I'm going to give her the rest. So I think for me, I have an obsession with deals, but I just think shopping in general, I think because I just couldn't. I just couldn't. And now it feels good to be able to whenever I feel like it, if I want to go to the store or whatever. But I don't know. It's a process. I don't think you get to that place that, you don't get there overnight. It really just, it takes time.
And you never
It
get
takes
to the
time.
place of where you're not continuously learning more about yourself and working on yourself. I love to see how your life is now, you and Anthony
Hmm.
traveling and going. I
Hmm.
like to see how you're redeeming the time. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah,
might
yeah.
think
Hmm.
you lost a lot of time, but you're like doing so much. You go,
Right. Hmm.
you like your kids are grown and you just, you just have a good time. And that's good to see.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're going here. I'm not hating on you. I'm happy for you. I'm
Right. Hmm.
glad that
Hmm.
you're doing stuff that you didn't have a chance to do when you were younger with somebody that you love. That's wonderful.
Right.
It's wonderful to see. I love that.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times, and this is something that I did not realize, and this is so strange to me. This is so strange to me. And maybe people who are in the chat or watch this video who are divorced will relate. I don't remember what it was like to be. I remember things that happened, but I just can't picture myself being with this person that I thought I would be with forever, and that I was with for such a 2 decades. 2 decades of my life, my adult life, I spent with this person, and I just can't remember certain things. I don't remember what it was like to sleep next to him, wake up. It just doesn't feel like that was my person. Um, and even it's embarrassing to say, but I could say it now. I never felt comfortable. I don't know why. I never felt comfortable with him. Like TMI, I could walk around with no clothes in front of Anthony and not worry about it. You understand? Like I could be myself. You understand what I'm saying? I feel comfortable. If we go somewhere, I could dance with him. The intimacy is there. I didn't have the intimacy with this person. Just because you have sex doesn't mean you have intimacy. You
Absolutely.
understand? I did not feel comfortable. I did not feel like myself. I don't know what it was. Maybe because we got together so young, I didn't know who I was. Um, Everything was all about him, what he wanted to do, and I noticed, looking back, I noticed that when we did go out, it was never really just the two of us. It was always a group. He was a community football coach, so it was always us with his friends, coaches, coupled up. You understand what I'm saying? We always were going on couples date. When we traveled on vacation, it was the other couples going along with us. We didn't have that intimacy where it was just me and him. Our last trip, it was just me and him and the kids. But on cruises, when you have those kids, don't even be, they had their own cabin, they were doing their own thing. I think that was only vacation where it wasn't other people coming along with us. You understand what I'm saying? Very rare dinner, or even the movie. Even the women, I thought we, I thought, I guess I was the bad person, and they cut me off too. I guess, yeah, I wasn't a couple anymore. So anyway, but anyway, we didn't have that intimacy, and I don't know how I tolerated that. I don't. Sometimes, I mean, there are certain things, like you say, you deal with and you have to deal with past hurts. Like certain things are triggering that I try to suppress, that had happened in that relationship. But my hope is, and hopefully Stephanie will do more of these healing sisters, because my hope is that just like I found Pastor R.C. Blake's, just like I found ASCC Direct to help me start looking at certain things that I wasn't looking at, my hope is that whatever we discuss here, maybe somebody will come across this video, and even if they only get a little bit, even if it's just a start to want to do better, to want to be better, because this young lady, um Khadijah Michelle Brown was her name. And the link, if you guys scroll up in the comments, I put a link to the news article. That's what triggered this conversation. Um, Maybe if she would have seen a video or something, because the world is now on TikTok. I have learned so much from social media, YouTube. I've learned how to fix things. I've learned crafts. I've learned so much from these platforms. Social media is not all bad. Maybe somebody will see this video and start wanting to make positive changes in their life. It might lead them to the right path, even if they just watch this one video and say, you know what, because that's what happened with me. I just happened to stumble across a free Facebook webinar, and I wasn't even following this lady that she did on narcissists. That's what like triggered me to seek out more information and more resources. um that's the point of this whole conversation. It's not really about the incident, because unfortunately, like I said, these incidents happen every day, and it's going to happen again. It's the wanting to have better, wanting to be better. Yes, this is my high school sweetheart, but I don't have to stay. I don't have to stay with him because we have 4 kids together. If he's going to be in other people's DMs, if he's going to, if he's not helping me around the house and I'm doing everything and I feel like, I'm alone, I don't have to stay. I can do better.
The first
You know?
place to get, if you feel stagnant or stuck, the first place to get unstuck is here,
Mhm.
because that's where the battle is.
Mhm.
Battle is in the mind.
Mhm.
So that's where we got to start changing the way we think.
Mhm.
And if you were taught certain things, you got to unteach yourself certain things.
Right. Right.
And you have to acknowledge that, some a lot of times we've had conversations with mommy where we're like, oh, this happened, and she's like, oh, I don't remember.
She never remembers.
She's famous for saying she doesn't remember something.
Mhm.
But at the same time, just because you don't remember doesn't mean it didn't happen. And
Mhm.
just because you did your best don't mean your best didn't hurt me.
Right.
I
Mhm.
heard some lady say that she was in the military and she moved a lot, but she was in the military because she wanted her kids to have an education. She wanted her kids to live in, a nice area, but because they moved a lot, they suffered from that, even though she thought she was doing her best. Sometimes when you do your best, people still get hurt. And
Yeah.
one day our kids are going to sit around and say, you did that. And we'll have to suck it up and do better.
Mhm.
Or we'll have to acknowledge that because we can't re raise them. So we have to acknowledge it. We can't, if your child comes to you with something, we can't brush it under the carpet and say we don't remember. We acknowledge it. And sometimes we have to ask for forgiveness,
Yeah.
so
With Sheldon, my oldest son, my communication with him was always challenging. Okay. Always challenging. But he said something to me. And it's very easy when your kids bring something up to you, especially we could think that we were the greatest parents. We could think, like you said, we did our best or whatever like that. And he made a comment to me that my love language was giving. I felt like, I provided and that's love. But that apparently wasn't enough because I worked a lot. And I always said my kids would never be able to say that their mom was in the clubs. I was running the streets. All they could say is that my mom worked a lot. And kids need time. They don't just need money. But my feeling was, well, they had their own rooms for Christmas, birthdays. I went on thing that they wanted. But it's something that you have to hear him. He verbalized that the time. But my thinking was, okay, I didn't leave you with you were with your father, but who knows what was going on when I wasn't around. And you have your own room, you have the latest video games, you have the sneakers, the clothes, I took you on vacation, but he verbalized that I was always at work. You know what I mean? And it's easy to get defensive and say, because of his style of communication sometimes, and kids can be manipulative and try to make you feel guilty also. So you have to be able to recognize those
Mhm.
things. But it is also sometimes hard to hear things. It's hard to hear criticisms, especially when I felt like you think I wanted to be on somebody's job 7 days a week. I missed out on a lot of family functions. I missed out on a lot of events. And those people are no longer here. Grandma's gone, grandpa's gone, pop's gone. I'm just saying, working, you thinking and putting myself last, and you have the nerve to say, you know, that I wasn't a good mom. Are you kidding me? So you have to be able to accept those difficult conversations. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's
Just
true.
because you like you said, just because you thought you did your best, I mean, in hindsight, I would have did things differently, definitely. Because just because you provide your kids and you give them everything they want doesn't mean make you a good parent. You understand what I'm saying?
Maybe that's
And
why God will allow us to become grandparents because you know, we can, not that you can right or wrong, but different, you're wiser. Because I
yes.
I had my first son when I was 20, and then my other son was 9 years apart because I got married.
Mhm,
But I would
mhm.
say that RJ, my middle child, definitely got a better mother than Deshaun did because I was younger.
Right. Mhm.
And then John, my youngest, got a better mother than, we get better, we get better over time. We try to learn from our mistakes. Like my husband and I were saying, we don't know John's friends. He needs to come by here with his friends. He's always saying he's going to this person's house. We don't know these kids. So today he called and he was like, Dad, can my friends come over? And he brought 3 kids with him. And they were down in the basement. My husband ended up spending $50 on pizza. But I'm like, we say we want him to have his friends over. We want to see his friends. So this, we can't complain that they're here and we got to feed
Right.
them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you gotta take it. There's got to be give and take. So he was
Right.
at the house tonight with his friends. We finally got to match the face to the names, and
Mhm,
we spent
mhm,
$50 on pizza. But we know, we
mhm,
really have
mhm.
to feel comfortable bringing his friends here.
Right.
So, me and my husband had to laugh. We were like, well, didn't we say we wanted him to start
Right.
bringing his
Mhm.
friends over? So it's like a trade off.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, I would do a lot of things differently if I could go back. Like you said, you can't re-raise them. Um, it is what it is. I have to take it from where we are now. But again, I have my boundaries now. And yes, I'm your mother. I love you. If you need me, I'll be there. But that doesn't mean I'll be there to be used. You know what I mean? Or abused or taken advantage of, because you're holding on to something, that you feel that I didn't do back then. So you have to, like I said, it's important to have boundaries. It's important to, if something doesn't feel right, if you're not feel comfortable, then you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't have to do something you don't want to do. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that certain things we do, like Do you think I want to get up and go to work? I know I have to go to work because I have to pay bills and stuff like that. But I'm saying when it comes to people asking things from you, you know what I mean? Asking you to do certain things. And the same people, if you ask them, I can't even call and get $5 if I needed it right now. You know what I
And you
mean?
have to be okay with saying no without following up with an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I won't be able to do that. Like somebody asked me to go somewhere recently, and I said, no, I won't be able to do that. I'm doing such and such. And that was the end.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel the need to go into any more detail. I cannot come. I'm doing this. Thank you for the invite.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to say no without feeling like there's always got to be an explanation. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, depending on who is asking, that can be a little difficult. But we
Yeah.
still have to, be honest. Because when we're not honest, we dishonor ourselves. And I don't really think that I didn't really know that not being honest with someone was dishonoring myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I recently realized that, for example, a few years ago, we were getting ready to go to a birthday party. Erica, you know how I am about my dogs. It was a Saturday night. I was going to my nephew's son's first birthday party. So the kids were in the car. I had Aubrey, my granddaughter. Me and my husband were inside. We let the dogs out to go to the bathroom. Peanut, my chihuahua, came in. Baby came in, which was my mother-in-law's chihuahua that we inherited because she passed away. When baby came in, she was like laboring, breathing weird. And I'm like looking down at her. Then all of a sudden, her tongue turned black. Blood started coming out of her nose and she died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hysterically crying. My husband went outside, talked to the neighbors to see if they might have put out some type of poison or whatever. I don't know if the
Mm-hmm.
dog ate something, ate a poison, had a heart attack. She was a little chihuahua, but she died. Do you know I still went to that birthday party? And you would have never known anything that was going. I sucked it up and went to the birthday party. Would my husband have been mad if I would have been like, babe, I just can't deal. Because to me, that's traumatic. I don't, some people might not think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I love animals. That was my animal. And it was my mother-in-law's animal on top of that. And she wasn't here anymore. But I
Mm-hmm.
sucked it up and went to the party. Why didn't I give myself that space to be like, you know what?
Right.
Y'all go ahead. I didn't want to hear my in-laws' mouth about not going to the party. I didn't want to let my nephew down. Aubrey was excited about going to the party. So if you would have seen me when I got to that party, I was laughing and joking and taking pictures. I thought, why didn't I just stay home? Why didn't I give myself that space, honor how I was feeling, which was upset, devastated, shocked, and stay home? But
Mm-hmm.
instead, I just sucked it up and went to the party.
Right.
And that was a clear example of how I didn't honor myself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah.
was like 5 years ago. But as I'm going through this emotional healing and journey and things that I've done, it's coming back to me and it's letting me
Right.
see that I
Mm-hmm.
I didn't honor myself that day.
Right. And
You
it's
would never
important.
know.
Yeah, and it's important as these things come back to you and you don't spend the time beating yourself up. Because I struggled with that. Like, why did you allow that? Like, what was, that's how I knew it was a self-esteem or something wrong with me issue, because I was questioning myself, like, why would you allow that? Like, what was wrong? How were you feeling about yourself that somebody else would feel it was okay to do that to you and continuously do that to you? But I can't go back and change that. I can't go back. I could just move forward and make improvements from there. You know what I mean? So, like you said, that happened, and you're looking back, that was 5 years ago. But at least you know now, moving forward, if another situation was to come up, that you're going to honor yourself first. And there's nothing wrong. Nobody should make you feel guilty, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. So that's another thing that is a thing that you have to work on. We have to work on as we learn things. I can't go back 20 years. I can't get those 20 years back. I can't make a different decision. Whatever happened, happened. But what can I do moving forward? How can I make improvements moving forward? And I think that's the important thing also, is not beating yourself up, because trust me, I could think about 1,000 things like why, but you waste time in the why and the woulda, coulda, shoulda, instead of making those improvements moving forward, you
Yeah,
know?
very true. Very true.
Yeah. And I didn't
You
even
gotta
know
move
that's how it
forward.
happened. I never knew, I knew he passed away, but I didn't know it was right before a party or nothing like that. It's the first
Yeah.
time I'm hearing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it was traumatic.
Yeah. But I want to say thank you, ladies, for joining us for our first Healing Sisters video, our first live.
Is that gonna
Um,
be our name?
Healing Sisters. Okay, because we are still healing. It's still a journey. I'm hoping, if you guys have any topics or anything you want to discuss, let us know in the comments. Like I said, this video wasn't, we referenced the incident that happened last Saturday with Khadijah Brown killing her husband, Jeremy Brown, on Facebook Live. She had caught him cheating and stuff like that, and was complaining about, him just not carrying his weight in the relationship. And now this young woman is facing capital murder charges. The murder happened in front of, her children. So we were referencing it. If you didn't hear about that story, I put a news link in the beginning, if you scroll up to the beginning comments. But that's what sparked this conversation, because I really feel, you know, sometimes you have to get out of relationships. Sometimes you have to separate yourself, because relationships can bring you down. They can bring you down. And I really feel that's what happened to this young lady. Not excusing her actions. I'm not blaming the victim either, because she's in charge of her own actions. And, you always can walk away. You can't make nobody do anything, but you always can remove yourself from the situation if it's going to affect your mental health, your peace. You could remove yourself. So that's what sparked the conversation. But we need to
Now,
talk about kids. Huh?
yes. And now that she's there,
Mm-hmm.
now that that decision has been made and she's there facing murder charges, I'm sure she's thinking of a million ways
Yeah.
that she's going to handle
Yeah.
that situation. But
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
decisions we make, there's no going back from. So
Right.
that's why we have to be sure that we have control over our emotions. There's nothing wrong with allowing yourself to feel,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
cannot let your emotions control you. And that anger, jealousy, whatever she was feeling, controlled her. In that split second, she made a decision that will forever change her life.
Right. Yeah. So, um, that's the whole point of this. Like I was telling Stephanie earlier, because even I Spy, he wasn't invited. This is grown woman chat. But anyway, he was saying, well, what are you going to talk about? And make sure you know all the details of the story. That was just a reference, because
It was
these
just a
stories are happening.
springboard. It's just a
Right.
springboard into a conversation.
Into a conversation about, sharing our struggles, and about how, not knowing and not, I don't want to say lacking maturity. I think a lot of things come with maturity, but it's just I want the message to get out that there are other options before you let somebody bring you down. I mean, okay, maybe you're not going to commit murder, but stress is a killer. You could be so stressed out trying to get people to do things. I came up with the health crisis during my relationship with the narcissist, and I really feel like it was brought on by stress, because that's how stressed I was. And sometimes you don't realize how stressed and how the worry will it'll take you out of here. Stress is a killer. Worrying about kids, families, jobs, all this nonsense, it will really bring you down. And I don't want that. If we can help you do better, feel better, think of other solutions, remove yourself from certain situations, from certain jobs. I know my job in New York, I can tell you one thing that was going to happen. And I told I Spy this. If we didn't decide to move to North Carolina, two things was going to have to change in New York. And one, I was leaving that job that I had been on for close to 14 years. And we were moving because I was not happy where I was. It wasn't, we're paying our rent every month and we're dealing with mice, um, her restricting the heat, all these, it just wasn't a good environment. You know what I mean? So it became a not good environment, and also my job. You have to be able to remove yourself from certain things. And I had a supervisor's position there for 10 or 12 years. I stepped down because I was being taken advantage of. I never forget, it was Super Bowl Sunday. Um, my Sunday nurse quit. The nurse who worked when I was off quit. Fine. I had no problem. I Spy was working. I wasn't doing anything for Super Bowl. But then there were no aides. There were no aides to work. So they wanted me to go in there, be the nurse and the aides for 35 demented residents. And that time I had a lot of what we call a nurse talk, walkie-talkies, which means a lot of the residents weren't wheelchair bound. They walked. And it wasn't a locked unit, it was a secured unit, which meaning if they press seconds, it would open. Now, if I'm the nurse and the aide and I'm down the hall with some, so I might not hear if somebody
How
escapes, and
is
then it's
that
my
even
license.
legal? How is that legal?
This is what they put me in, the position they put me in, and I got so upset. And thank God, two aides, who felt bad for me, they decided to stay. Okay, that were working the morning shift, so it was just the three of us. And that night before I left that place, I typed up my resignation, and I was leaving that job permanently. And then they offered me the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6A to 6P position at a good salary, because I was making a good chunk of money, but still, I still would be making, the salary. And it was 12-hour shifts, 3 days a week. And I no longer had that responsibility. So what I'm trying to say is you have to be willing to, this is not serving me anymore. You know what I mean? You can't get caught up, well, where am I going to work? This job's out there. It's so much jobs available out there now. So if you're being mistreated and taken advantage of, and they're okay with that, and I'm talking about the administration's talking about their Super Bowl plans, but yet this is really your building. You're the administrator. You should be in here helping me. They have come in help other people in other departments. You understand? So you're not to be taken advantage of. You know what I mean? And I was going to walk away from that situation, and I was willing to move. So you have to get to that place where enough is enough. And
Yeah.
we want to be able to help you. Um, you know,
Well,
we want to be able to help you.
Grandma used to say fear meant false evidence appearing real, but my coach now has a different acronym, which I like better. Fear is face everything and rise. Face
Like that.
everything and rise. So that is like I like that better, because like you said, you have to be able to walk away, and that sometimes fear keeps you in situations, because the fear of the unknown. Well, what's going to happen
Right.
if I do A, B, C, and D? But take that fear and use the acronym face everything and rise.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she said that in one of our group coaching sessions, and I really took that away. It was like face it, face
Yeah.
it,
Mm-hmm.
face everything
A lot
and
of
rise.
fear can be crippling. Fear of being alone, fear that nobody will like you, fear that you're going to upset somebody, fear. And you have to try to, I mean, in your heart, if your intention being, it's okay to say no. It's okay to not be there for somebody. Sometimes you can't be. Sometimes
Everybody's emergency is not yours.
everybody's
Everybody's
emergency is
emergency
not
is
yours.
not
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So we hope you guys enjoyed. I thank you for those of you who attended the live. I thank you for those of you who will watch the replay. And we'll think of a topic for the next one. I had said to Stephanie, maybe we could do this bi-weekly, or for now, just do it once a month, just so we could see our schedules. And we don't want to talk about the same thing all the time. You know what I mean? But it could be, like another topic. It might be something else we want to talk about that comes up. If you guys could think of anything, you can email me at dollartreequeen76@gmail.com. We'll probably think of a mutual healing sisters email, Stephanie, that we both have access to, that you guys could email some comments to, or maybe share your story. Right now we're on YouTube Live. This is not go live together, so it's not StreamYard where we can have other people come up, but maybe I can look into StreamYard and see. But if you want to share your story and you want to get your story out there, maybe you have something to offer, or maybe you need advice with something. So we're going to set up an email and we'll get it out to you. But for right now, you could email us, and I'll share that with Stephanie, dollartreequeen76@gmail.com, or only because it's already set up. And I just thought of this email together because you might want your story told, or you might be dealing something with a family member and you might need help. We're not experts. We're just two experienced women that have been through some things that don't mind sharing our journey, and help and encouragement to you. Okay. Because not everybody, like I said, might not have friends or family that you can confide in. Maybe they don't agree with what you want. Maybe they feel you should stay where you are, or whatever that is. Sometimes, like I said, you have to be careful who you share things with. But thank you guys. We didn't do too bad. We went over the hour by
well, I wanted
extra
to
hour.
thank my sister Erica for inviting me to her platform. She
Mhm.
actually encouraged me to start my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
She helped make my promo. I
Mhm.
got a little baby channel. I got 155 subscribers, and you would think that I had 5 million subscribers, but I wanted my growth to be from grassroots.
Right. Mhm.
I didn't want, I didn't go advertising. I'm starting a YouTube channel. One day in my car, I put fear aside and press record, and that was that. But I want to thank Erica for inviting me to her platform, for giving me YouTube tips, for helping me with my channel. She is my little sister, but in other ways, she's big because she knows a lot and she is willing to help others. So thank you for inviting me to your
Oh, no
platform.
problem. And Stephanie's channel is pinned in the comments. Check out her content. She has some great content on there. So check her channel out. And yeah, we hope to see you again. We hope to see you again. So we're gonna come up with an email that you guys could email us. Like I said, if you want to share your story, if you want to, like I said, this is not like advice, but sometimes you need people who are going to tell you the truth and keep it real with you, because I know I didn't have those people around me. You know what I mean? So if you want to engage with us, join us, then we welcome that, because I don't know, I think it'll be fun. I think it will be fun.
Yeah.
I think it will be fun. And I think, like, I was able to get out of some rough situations because I found other platforms that, you know, helped me. Sometimes you need that help. Sometimes you don't recognize. Sometimes you're in situations and you don't realize. Sometimes when I think back, I was like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? But anyway, we made it an hour over, so it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you guys soon. And yeah, date. I'll put the word. I'll be looking for it. And check out Stephanie's platform, Mending Mahogany. Like I said, very underrated. Unfortunately, with YouTube's algorithm, there are a lot of content creators that go unnoticed because of how they push the more popular channel. And it is frustrating. It is. Don't give up, Stephanie. Don't get frustrated. Sometimes if it wasn't for my day ones and for the people who enjoy my videos and come back on a regular basis, sometimes I said, I don't even need to do this. I'm still going to be the Dollar Tree queen, whether I'm on YouTube or not. But it's just those few people that come back all the time and look for me. That's what keeps me going. So don't get discouraged, Stephanie, in numbers. You're small and mighty. Don't get discouraged, because it can be very discouraging, especially when, let me just rant real quick. Some people, you look at their content and it's the same as yours or not as good as yours. I'm going to keep it real. It's okay to big yourself up, especially if you know that you're putting out quality content and good content. You watch somebody else's video and you're like, I said the same thing. I did the same thing. I mean, I'm just saying, I have to keep it real, but it can be discouraging. But that's where the not comparing yourself to others comes in it. You're you, you're unique. People who love you are going to love you. People who support you are going to support you. And, sometimes I do a video and you look, YouTube studio, you might lose a couple of subscribers. So maybe I said something somebody didn't like, but you can't focus on that. Those who are going to support you are going to support you. Those who enjoy your content, who want to, they'll be there. And those who don't, like I used to notice when I do a giveaway, if I announced it in the title, I would get extra subscribers. And then after they didn't win, they would unsubscribe. That's why I don't announce giveaways anymore. You know what I mean? Because I want, and I love for the people who visitors. I want to get what I like content. I'm there for her. You understand what I'm saying? We just do the video. I don't even honestly, sometimes, I try to engage with the, comments, people who leave comments. I love engaging with people who leave comments and stuff like that. And the regulars who come back all the time or whatever. I love that. But I try not to focus. I stopped focusing on numbers.
Right.
I stopped focusing on numbers. I do the video. I put the information out there. It's a Dollar Tree haul. It's whatever I'm doing. If you watch, you watch. And I would love for you to watch, but I also enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So, you have to get to the point where I'm doing something that I like to do, and people who are going to be here for it are going to be here for it. Those who won't, they won't.
Well,
But
this is my first live, so I
Mhm.
appreciate that. I used to have a Facebook group, private group, and a page, and I found that I was hiding behind the
Mhm.
Facebook group because I would never, I would always post other people's stuff. I
Mhm.
I was hiding, and I'm not hiding anymore. So that's why
Mhm.
Erica encouraged me, well, start a channel. And like you said, it's not about numbers. If I don't learn nothing else, I'm going to learn to be comfortable in my own skin.
Right.
So that it is what it is.
Yeah.
That,
And because it's also hard because you have people that you're putting yourself out there. You did this YouTube channel, sharing yourself, you're sharing your life, and then you'll have those keyboard thugs. Like I had somebody, oh my God, your sunglasses are so big. I like big sunglasses. You have to be okay when you put yourself out here on these public platforms. You have to be okay. There's not everybody's going to like you. There's some people that are going to be negative. Now, me, unless it was something truly offensive that somebody said in their video, I really don't comment unless, negatively, like, oh, I don't like this. Like I did, I'll give you an example. I did a Dollar Tree haul and the title of the video was name brand only. Somebody commented, oh, this is nothing new. I've seen these before. Sorry. I never said new. I said, this is a name brand only haul. So you can't get caught up in the comments
go
too much.
back
You're
and
going to have
forth
to
with
go
people.
on Instagram. I have comments, oh, your voice is so soothing. I love your voice. Some people, oh, your voice is so annoying. It's driving me crazy. You're not for everybody. You're not for everybody. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to appreciate you. I shared with you about this other, and I don't know why it has to be so competitive. Like, especially the Dollar Tree world, it's so competitive amongst why can't we all like each other's videos? Why can't we all acknowledge each other? Like, why do you only acknowledge the big YouTubers that don't even acknowledge you? But you know what I mean? But you can't make people, that comes in the part where you have to just be happy and accept yourself. I post a video and that's it. I forget about it. I don't look, I can't get caught up in numbers. I can't, because you will get caught up in, well, how come they have this many subscribers and I don't? How many they got this many likes and I don't? You can't.
And then
You
you won't
can't.
enjoy it. Then you won't enjoy it. It sucks the joy out of doing it.
Yes,
You got to know
exactly.
the reason why you're doing something.
Right.
You have to know
Exactly.
the reason why you're doing
And
something.
and stop doing it when even though, like I said, if it wasn't for my loyal cyber family, I think I would stop doing it. It's not because I don't enjoy doing it. It's more of a, like what we've been talking about. You're giving so much of yourself and getting little in return. That's my angle. That would be the only reason, that's where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from um I'm only, I'm being forced to do this. I'm not being forced to do it. I do it because I want to do it. It's not going to change if I stop doing YouTube Dollar Tree hauls. That doesn't mean I'm not going to stop shopping at Dollar Tree. It's just that when you feel, it's frustrating when you're putting in so much effort, but you also have to be honest with yourself. And I have to be honest, at sometimes I wasn't consistent. So you can't be looking at somebody else's channel, why their channel growing, when you know you're not consistent. Okay. I will say that my camera angle and my video editing skills weren't the best. I mean, I'm getting better. It can be better, but I haven't invested in the tech side of it. Like some people go out and they buy the expensive cameras, they do the lighting, they do the sound. I can't get mad at you. You putting in the work. And here I am recording on my Samsung Galaxy S22 and wondering why your videos, because you've invested in that $200-300 camera. You're consistent. You're uploading consistently. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to have those honest conversations with yourself. So I had to keep it real with myself. You can't get mad when you're not consistent. You're not advertising. Like I'm not using YouTube Studio like I should, because I'm too lazy to log onto my computer so I can uh you know they have a way where you could promote your videos and stuff like that. They have other things. I haven't changed my channel background in years. So you got to be honest and keep it real with yourself. And thankfully I'm able to do that. I'm able to be honest with myself and say, hey, you have to.
Well,
Let's
you're
just keep it
gonna make
real.
me a new intro when I come down in May because I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
I said Erica has to make me a new intro. But
Yeah.
like I got a laptop and I can't. I don't know how to work this thing. I mean, it has a nice. My husband got it for me, but I'm just not comfortable on the laptop, so just go back to my phone. But I'm
Like
gonna have
I got a
to learn how to
computer.
use it.
I got a computer for Christmas 2 years and I rarely use it. It's just so easy. I do everything on my phone. So, I mean, there is a tech side of it. You know what I mean? I could be honest, and I could be honest when I see somebody else's video that is better than mine. I mean, I'm not, hating on those people, but I'm talking about the people that's on my level. You know what I mean? With the phone and stuff like that. But I hate YouTube's algorithm. It's just not fair because I see so many videos and I try to support when I come across a channel. I try to just hit subscribe. And I'm not saying subscribe to everybody because you have to be careful. If you don't support or you don't believe in what somebody's saying, if you're not getting good vibes from that person, I'm not saying subscribe just to help their channel grow. But I just don't want you to get discouraged and I don't want you to give up. Even if one person, it might be one person that sees your video that might feel so low and bad about themselves that they're thinking about suicide, that they're thinking about making a crazy decision because they don't know who else to turn to. It might be somebody that hears your story that might change their life. Like when you shared your video about how you almost terminated your pregnancy with Deshaun.
Mm.
It might be somebody else facing that decision, but they come up, they're just waiting in the waiting room and your YouTube video pops up. You understand what I'm saying?
Like
It might
that
be
lady
somebody
video, like that free webinar came up for you about
for
narcissism.
me. Right. So even if you reach one person, I think that's more valuable if you reach 10 people than no people. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's more valuable because that could be life or death for somebody. You know what I mean? Somebody could just be sitting and all of a sudden that video popped up because I had never heard of RC Blakes. I had never heard of ASCCW. They just came up as a suggestion. You know what I mean? So your video might win and it might help somebody. So, like I said, social media, you think, oh, well, they have 500 friends and I only have 100 friends. How many of those people are people that they know, people that they interact with? You know what I mean? Sometimes, now don't get me wrong, I like seeing those numbers on Instagram. It makes me feel good because I put a lot of work into what I do. I go to these stores, I record. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time from iSpy and stuff like that. I'm just saying, for myself, I spend a lot of time in the Dollar Tree streets. So it's nice when you see that reward. You know what I mean? If you
Right.
invest $1,000 and you see, if you're not seeing no return or nothing, you're not seeing nothing, it could be discouraging. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, the numbers do make us feel good. Yeah, because you think like, wow, 500 people subscribe to me, 500 people are feeling me, but they might not like your video. Because when I look at the YouTube stats, a lot of people that are not subscribed to me watch my videos. You understand? It tells you the percentage of your
Yes.
subscribers. It tells you how many men, how many women. It tells you age groups. And I don't use all of those tools to your benefit. And they say to be successful, you should. It even tells you when the subscribers are tuning in. The people that subscribe me, they said are on YouTube from, I think, 12p to 6p, the majority of my subscribers. And I'm like, okay, I see a lot of night owls. You know, if I upload a video late, but I guess this is their analytics. But like I said, we get caught up in, she has that many social media people. A lot of people love her. Not everybody who follows you loves you. There's some trolls that follow you too. You know what I mean? So we can't get caught up in the numbers. You know what I mean? It's not the quantity, it's the quality. I like engaging with regular people on a regular basis. Susan always tunes in, Tracy Lee, Tracy Spit. I mean, I can name people, that tune in on a regular basis that interact with me. If I didn't name you, just don't take that personal. I'm just giving you examples. But I'm just saying, I know my regulars, and it feels good seeing those regular people. You understand what I'm saying?
Is that
Then
Susan, the one that lives out here? I don't want to put her
yeah,
last name out.
yeah, she's on right now. Susan's on. Susan
Oh
is
yeah, Susan supported me when I did
Susan is
my
a
book giveaway.
support friend.
She won the father daughter talk when I had my
Yeah,
Facebook group. Yeah, so
Susan
Susan
is
is a
loyal.
supporter.
Susan Thomas is loyal as hell, and thank you, Susan.
And I
Seriously,
got to meet her in person.
yes, Susan is loyal. If Susan ain't gonna do nothing, she gonna show up, and I appreciate that because you need that. I know we want. You would like to think, well, we don't need it, but it feels good when somebody says nice video or thank you, when somebody acknowledges that you took your time. And people assume that, well, you're getting paid, you're making a lot of money. No. YouTube only pays 10 cents for every 1,000 views. So you can imagine, if you look at, I don't know if my views show up on my Dollar Tree hauls. Very rare have I gotten over 1,000 views or close to it. I'm getting more views now. So you can imagine, I go months without receiving anything from YouTube. It's easier and less time for me to go pick up a 4-hour shift. I'd make more money. Work for 4 hours, okay? Working a couple of hours. So it's not the money for me. Some people have made this a full-time career. This is not my full-time career. This is a hobby for me. But I do enjoy the engagement, meeting people. I've interacted with so many people, but it's not. iSpy says it's my part-time job. It is like a job because I put a lot of time into it. But if I ever left, it wouldn't be because I didn't enjoy it. It's just the fact of I'm getting more on Instagram by posting little clips. You understand? Because
Right.
of YouTube algorithm, than I'm getting from YouTube, but it's the connections that I've made with people. And it's because I have such an appreciation for the platform and I've learned so much from this platform that I feel like I've I've gained so much. You know what I mean? It helps me get out of a narcissistic relationship. If I found things,
Oh, my
I've
husband
gotten so
always
much.
finds videos on YouTube to fix stuff around the house. He will watch a YouTube video and fix something in the house.
I have gotten so much from the platform that I it's priceless.
I keep talking
You know what I
about my coach. My coach. I am a part of a group coaching mentorship program with Shannon Savoy
Mhm.
from Narc Free Living. I have a community of sisters online that I never thought that I would have. Like, you can't connect with people online. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I gained such a good relationship with this community, and I did a one-on-one session with her, and one of the things that she told me was, God wants to use you outside of the four walls now of the church. I grew up in church. We grew up in church. I know church, but God wants to use me outside of the four walls. And that's where my comfortability is being challenged, because I can function in church. I can minister in church. I know how to, but it's outside of the four walls that God is using me and using this platform to spread my ministry, what he wants me to say to people. So this is different for me. If you go onto my page, I worship, I sing. If you don't want to hear about God, then don't come to my page, because I'm going to talk. Don't subscribe, because I'm going to talk about God.
Right.
I'm going to
Yeah.
talk about God. That is, I'm going to talk about God, but that is, God is using me outside of the four walls of the church. So,
Right.
and this is the platform that he's doing it on. So.
Well, I think as far as the church is concerned, let's keep it real. I think a lot of people don't go to church. There are a lot of internet services. People live stream the service, and I have
Especially
watched
since
church
COVID.
services. I've watched church services live stream. Um, there's a lot of TikTok ministries. I don't know if you know him. There's this man, he prays every morning. This black man, he prays and stuff like that. And he also has videos and messages. So I think a lot of people, because of the politics of the church and everything that goes on, I think, and COVID, that kind of brought people outside of church where they rather watch those live stream services and stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah. But thank you, ladies, again. This was great. I had a great
Yes, it
time.
was.
You did wonderful, Stephanie. It's
Thank
always
you.
nervous and jitters, but you did great. Thank you, because I get off track.
I was
And I lose track a lot, guys. But we will. I don't know why I'm echoing now. You hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Well, we will get the email together and we will let you know when the next one is.
Okay. Good
Take care,
night.
guys. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. How do you end this now?
I'm just smiling like.
Okay, good night, guys.
Good
Thank
night.
you. I don't know how to do this.
I think you
I
have
don't
to
know,
end
y'all.
them live.
It's not giving me that option. Hold on. Because we could be here all night talking. Okay. Good night.
Good night.